So letzte Woche war wieder eine neue Folge von Markus Lanz, die große deutsche Empörungsshow. Und das muss ich mal wieder einordnen für euch, wie es wirklich ist. Weil es ging natürlich wieder über die Eisbehörde und die Behörde in Amerika und Palantir. Und da gab es eine Frau, die ist auch Amerikanerin und scheint Amerika echt gut zu kennen. Aber was sie dort gelabert hat, tja, ist natürlich wieder linker Schwachsinn. Genau wie die das alle machen. Das ist in Deutschland, das ist in Amerika genau das Gleiche. Und jetzt schalte ich über auf Englisch, dann werde ich euch das erklären kurz, was sie dort alles falsch gesagt hat. So, once again, there are German elites that are sitting on Markus Lanz, basically the fucking moralizing state propaganda show. You know what I'm saying? That's his job, is to basically try to finger wag people into submission on his show. And that's what he does really good, because most of the people, he doesn't really have to finger wag into submission, because most of the people that are on the show are ideologically aligned with the government, with Markus Lanz, and always have the same opinion. So there was an expert, an America expert, a woman. I don't know what her name is, and I don't care what her name is. You can go watch it. It was on the 28th of January last week. And they were talking about how authoritarian Trump is now using AI and Palantir and Peter Thiel and the tech bros to basically use Palantir to bundle information so that they can more easily go find and go after criminals. And so when it comes to ICE, what she was saying is that the cops, the ICE cops, have cameras in their glasses. This is true. And they have cameras on their phones, which is also true. And everything that they're filming the whole time. You know, police also have body cameras, people, and that information also gets saved, right? So this woman is trying to make it out to be like, oh my God, the ICE guys are filming citizens. They're filming harmless protesters and putting them in a database. Well, first of all, let me ask you something. You don't think Germany does shit like that? You know what I'm saying? Even though it's probably illegal, you don't think they do shit like that? So that's one thing, okay? It's always great to hear these people who are basically mouthpieces for a country that is failing completely to talk shit about a country that is doing much better than they are. That's weird. That's weird to me. And see, Donald Trump thinks that's weird too. That's why he hates the Europeans so much. That's why he keeps fucking with the Europeans and trolling them and telling them how weak and incapable they are, because it's true. And he needs to humiliate these people. I would do the same thing, because how the fuck, wait a second. Now, I'm not saying America's perfect at all. Trump's not perfect either, at all. I've complained about a lot of shit. There's a lot of shit to complain about. But if I was Donald Trump, I wouldn't take the loser telling me that I'm such a fucking tyrant piece of shit for 10 years and then kiss their ass when I get into power. And see, that's what the Europeans expect. They're like, okay, we'll just talk shit about this guy, call him a pedophile, call him Hitler, call him, Kamala Harris is going to win the election, guys, and we're going to completely treat this guy like the scum of the earth. And now that he's president, we expect him to kiss our asses. That's hilarious. That's not how that works. I'm sorry, guys. So anyway, the woman was complaining about how the ICE guys are recording protesters, and so they knew already who Alex Preddy was, the guy who got himself killed, and like this is some giant conspiracy about Trump, that Trump is he's using authoritarian Orwellian measures. Look, Palantir, I totally get why Trump and the United States government wants to use Palantir. And at least the people in the guy that was at Markus Lanz last week, he was honest and said the German government's clamoring to be able to use the Palantir software in the same way, right, as America's doing it. So he's at least honest, saying, yeah, well, if the Germans could do it, they'd fucking do it. You know what I mean? So, So the woman is saying that it's such a bad thing because now this information is being bundled with all the other information. Look, first of all, let's be real. I want as little government as possible, wherever I'm at, as little as possible. I'd rather there just be none, but I guess we all agreed at some point there has to be some, so there's some. I want it as small as possible. I don't like the idea of the government being able to use data to more easily harass me if they feel like they want to crush me for whatever reason. Maybe I speak out against them, so they want to fucking make my life difficult. It's going to be easier for them if they have a whole database full of everything that I've ever done, who I am, what my medical records are, et cetera, et cetera. I understand why the government wants to do that. And if that sort of system is in the hands of the right person, then that wouldn't be so problematic, because it would probably also improve our lives if things were digitized and bundled in a way that where we only had to basically call to get our driver's license. We're like, yo, driver's license is expired, or better yet, automatically we get our driver's license sent to us when it expires. That would be government customer service that would be worth paying taxes for. But in order for them to do that, they're going to have to digitize. And digitizing means they're going to have to use AI, and AI is going to bundle information about people into one narrow category, so that when the government needs to find out something, any one of the departments can look at that person and see, oh, it's their driver's license expired, whatever. You know what I mean? So I get their reasoning behind it. The only time shit like this is bad is when it's in the hand of somebody like Friedrich Merz or Ursula von der Leyen or whatever, those kind of people. You know what I'm saying? The SPD, the Grüne. In the hands of Donald Trump, I'm okay. I would rather be in the hands of Donald Trump than any of the European politicians. 100%. Okay? I don't like it, but the governments are going to do it anyway. Okay? So this woman acting like this is like somehow Trump being the authoritarian. That's what they want to frame it like. See, and all the leftists do this. All the leftists do this. Leftist media does it. These people here in Germany do it. They do it in America. The left always tries to play the victim. And this woman would have no problem if this shit is implemented in Germany, one of the most authoritarian and totalitarian Western countries today. Let's remember that. Germany, the politicians that are in power here in Germany want to turn Germany into a totalitarian state. Ursula von der Leyen and the bureaucrats of the EU also want that. They want one world totalitarianism. That's what they want. And everybody has to believe what they believe. And there's 150 genders. And, guys have to fuck other guys because they say they're women. And all this crazy shit that these people come up with. So she's making a big deal out of it. And she's saying, well, they're using Palantir to bundle this information. Yeah, that's not so weird, okay? Now, what she also falsely said, very important, this is about something that the Attorney General did in America. See, there's a lot of protests going on because ICE is deporting illegal immigrants. The left loves illegal criminal immigrants. They love them. They don't care if those illegal immigrants raped a child, killed a child. They don't care. They don't want them deported out of the country. And see, all the people that voted for Donald Trump do. And they don't want just the criminals out. They want all illegals out. I agree with them. We should have that done here in Germany. All illegals, the fuck out. Criminal immigrants, legal or illegal, the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's it. So that's what I want. That's what most of Germany wants. It's just the political elites that don't want that. And the left, they don't want that. You know what I'm saying? So in America, there's a bunch of protests, and there's a lot, not only protests, but there's a bunch of people directly getting themselves involved with law enforcement. That's dumb. In America, that's very dumb because law enforcement has guns and they will kill you, as you have seen in the last 2 episodes with Renee Good and Alex Preddy. So fuck around and find out. You get yourself involved in law enforcement, especially if you're armed with a weapon. You're taking a risk. You know you're taking that risk. These are adults. They have to face the consequences of their risks. That's it. Period. Sorry. So she is saying that the Attorney General Pam Bondi, who I am not a fan of, wrote a letter to Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, where all these fucking dramas are going on, saying that we will remove all ICE agents, right? So the federal government promises to remove all the ICE agents out of Minnesota and stop enforcing immigration in Minnesota, as long as Minnesota turns over all the voter records, including the people that the people voted for in Minnesota, all of them. So what this woman is claiming is that the Attorney General of the United States of America wrote an open letter that everybody can read to the governor of a state saying, bribing him essentially, saying, listen, you want ICE out? We'll stop enforcing immigration in Minnesota. We'll take ICE out. as long as you give us all the private voter data and voter information of every citizen in Minnesota. That's total bullshit. First of all, you can't see the voter rolls they are demanding the voter rolls. That's right. The voter rolls is something else, however. All the voter rolls show is who all is registered to vote, what their names are, what their addresses are, and whether or not they voted. Right? That's it. It does not show who they voted for. America, like Germany, has a secret vote. So it doesn't show who they voted for at all. Okay? At all. Doesn't show who they voted for. But this woman on Markus Lanz is claiming, oh, they want all the information so they can intimidate the people. Total bullshit. Second of all, let's remember, there's an investigation going on about the 2020 election in America. Obviously, there were problems with that election. 100%. There is no doubt that there were problems with the 2020 election, and this government has the right to investigate that. That means they have raided in Fulton County in Georgia the election offices to get the boxes of all the votes and all the shit to make sure the signatures match. That's one thing. Yeah, they want to also make sure they don't find any illegal ballots. That's another thing. I'm sure that if the FBI was honest, which they're not, they would find shit that definitely fucked up the 2020 election. If they come out and say they found nothing, they're lying just like they did with the Epstein files. Everybody knows that something was up in Fulton County, and especially with the 2020 election at large. That is this government's right to investigate, you see? So if they want the voter rolls from Minnesota, they have the right to demand that, right? But what they also demanded in this letter, so they didn't demand access to who people voted for, any of that crazy shit, total lie, complete lie. What they demanded is that Minnesota starts cooperating with federal law enforcement, which means if they arrest somebody and that person raped a kid and that person is also an illegal immigrant, they are supposed to, under federal law, they are supposed to call the federal government, so call ICE and say, look, we've got Jorge Martinez, we picked him up for child molestation, but he's an illegal. He doesn't have papers to be legally in America, so we will hold him for 24 hours and you guys can come pick him up to deport him. That's how it's supposed to work. That's how it worked when Obama deported 3 million people. Okay? When Obama did it, there's no fucking problem. Obama's deported more people in his 8 years than Trump thus far has deported in his 4 years. Right? So, but there's no problems there. Why? Because the left is on Obama's side, so they worked with him. The cities and the states worked with him, and that's always forgotten, right? These states are actively insurrecting against the federal government. It would be like if Byron and Markus Soder said, you know what? We're going to legalize heroin in Byron, you know? And everybody that wants to do heroin can come here and live here, and you can just do it. And the federal government in Germany says, no, you can't do that. And Markus Soder just goes, well, fuck you. If we catch anybody with heroin, we're not going to arrest them. We're not going to call you, and we're just going to let them go. I don't think that would work out real great in Germany either. Okay, so let's be real. So what the Pam Bondi, the AG, is saying is, listen, you'll start cooperating with ICE and the federal government. You turn over all the voter rolls for inspection. And one other point, which is also very reasonable. All the other points she left out, right? She left out all the other points, okay? So the woman is just a complete propagandist, right? She is a complete the reason why she's such a propagandist against America now, even though she lives there, she has American citizenship, is because Trump is in office. The reason why she has a problem with Palantir being used to bundle all the data, which I also don't like, let's be real, is because Trump is at the helm. If it was Friedrich Merz or some leftist fucker or Joe Biden who doesn't even have a fucking brain, she'd be totally fine with it. There would be no complaints about, oh my God, they're filming citizens who are protesting. And let's remember, these people are not protesting. They are agitating the police, actively getting in the way of police duties. That is not the same as protesting. Okay? Try that shit here and call it protesting. The only way that works here in Germany is if you're on the left. Then you can go and agitate everything. You blow up power stations and, kill Berlin with 50,000 people out of power for 5 days. And then you're called a protester. Yeah, sure. That's because the German government, the people in power here, are on the left. And they support everything the left does. They support Antifa, they support the leftists, and that's how they roll. Markus Lanz is the same. He's a leftist propagandist mouthpiece for the government. It's obvious. And the people he has on prove it. I mean, there's a couple other things this woman said that were completely off base. I'm trying to think of what one was now so that to remember, try to remember, but I can't. But the thing about the voting, she is completely lying. Oh, there was one other thing. She's talking about the Dilley, Texas ICE facility where families are kept before deportation. So you can't just take the person out of their house and put them on a plane. There is a period of time that they have to wait before there's a flight out, before they can get, it's like a long list of people that got to go. And so those people are detained in a facility in Texas, one of many, right? And she was saying that this facility puts the children in prison. And they showed a video of a reporter, an American reporter, going to the Dilley facility, and you could hear the kids screaming, "Let us out, let us out." Well, let me tell you something. In that facility, parents and children are housed together. They have like little cottages, bungalows, so to speak, where the whole family can be in. They just can't cook there, but they have a shower, they've got a bed, a TV, they can spend time there. There's playground facilities for the kids. And the mothers and the children are kept together the whole time. The only time when the family is separated is the men at night have to go to the men's part of the facility. That's it. But the mother still stays with the children. So the children are not imprisoned without their parents. That's a lie. That's not happening, right? And the reason why those children were screaming, "Let us out" at that time is they're in there with the parents during the day who don't want to go back home. And there's protesters outside, and there's reporters outside, and the parents inside know that. And so what do? They tell the kids, "All right, guys, let's scream so the reporters and the protesters hear us. Let's scream, 'Let us out, let us out.'" That's probably what's happening. Otherwise, these kids would be playing, they'd be on the slides, they'd be fucking around. You know what I'm saying? No, in no universe does it occur to a bunch of little kids to all band together and scream, "Let us out," right at the right time that there happens to be a reporter outside with camera equipment. So they are not being mistreated, and there's no evidence. See, that's another thing these people do on Markus Lanz. They get on there and they provide zero evidence of what they say. Zero. No evidence whatsoever. But it's out there. You can look for it yourself. Look at the Dilley facility. It's out there. You can see it. Dilley facility, Texas. Right? She also said, well, a Democratic congressman who has the legal right to go over to do oversight in that facility was denied access. But she forgot to tell you that about 2 weeks later, 2 Democratic congresspeople, including Jasmine Crockett, were let into that facility to do oversight and to talk to a specific family. The reason why the first congressperson, I think his name was Murphy, wasn't let in is because the Trump administration made a new rule, which they have the right to do, like it or not, doesn't matter if we like it or not. They made a new rule saying that Congress people have to provide notice that they're coming to do oversight. Murphy didn't do that. He said, well, I gave him 24 hours notice. And Trump said, well, that's not enough. So that's it. That's it. That's how it works. I don't like it either. You know what I'm saying? But it works like that. You know what I mean? So Murphy wasn't let in. This woman is not lying about that. The Democratic congressman was not let into the facility. But 2 weeks later, 2 other Democrats were. And this guy would be if he just gave the right amount of notice that was made clear to him by the administration. These are the rules. If you don't like the rules, you have to try to go to court or whatever to change the rules. Okay? That's another thing. They're lying. Okay? They're lying. Then they're saying, well, the people are there, they've dirty water, and they're under nutrient. They don't have the food is being screwed with, and they're, well, okay, that's possible. Dirty water, huh? Okay, where's the evidence? Did the 2 Democratic Congress people that went into the facility come out with any evidence of that? No, they didn't say anything about that. But this woman on Markus Lanz in Germany is claiming that she knows what the conditions are on the inside of an ICE facility that she's never been in. Right? And she's basing it on stories that she may hear from other leftists, but she doesn't have any evidence. And yet she comes on Markus Lanz and talks about it as if she's telling the gospel. It's the truth, right? These people are charlatans. They're charlatan liars, and they should be kept as far away from power and television as possible. They're the propagandists, right? As a matter of fact, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch Markus Lanz every day, and then I'm going to get on here and make a video about him and his show, and point out all the fucking lies and hypocrisy that happens on this show every day, and what is poisoning the minds of stupid fucking people in Germany that still watch this shit and think it's true. Because these people are liars. And I will point out every fucking lie they tell. And you guys can go out and fact check me if you like. Do it. If I'm wrong, I'll tell you I'm wrong. Then I fucked up. No problem. Much more than these people will ever do. When they get confronted with the facts, they pretend like the person that's asking them about the facts are speaking another language. They're like, well, no, my facts are true. Okay, where's your evidence? I don't need evidence because I'm a leftist. That's basically their attitude. They're like, no, we don't. All that matters is how we feel. That's it. Don't you get it? All that matters is how we feel. Facts and truth and shit. We don't deal in those things. That's leftist. That's Markus Lanz. That's all our European politicians at the moment. Yeah, almost all. So this woman is clearly lying her ass off about numerous things. But that's how they do it. They have like a little bit of truth in there. And then because yes, children are being housed at Dilley facility. That's right. Not separate from their parents, though. That's a lie. And yes, Trump administration is using Palantir, an independent software company, to bundle as much information as they can within the U.S. government about U.S. citizens. The NSA has been doing that since the beginning, since its founding, right? And it was illegal for them to do it, but they fucking did it anyway. So as much as I don't like that idea that Palantir, some AI software, is being used to gather information about every single person in America and try to bundle it into a database, I'm not so wow about that idea, but I think that's inevitable. I think that's coming no matter what, and it's coming everywhere with the advancement of AI. So it's true what she said. The government is using that system. What they're not doing, though, is they are not using it to at the moment, right? They're not using it to fucking try to figure out who people voted for so that they can be harassed in the future or any shit like that. And yes, they are recording and sending it right into a cloud. It's getting into a database. So people like these protesters and agitators and shit, they are, you know what I'm saying? Yes, they're being what's it called? They're getting a database built on them. Of course. That's what law enforcement does, right? They look at criminals and build a database. They've done that forever. If you're a criminal or a potential criminal, they're investigating you. They're building a database about you. That's how that works. It's just they're using Palantir to do it. Yeah, okay. So what? So what you're saying is on January 6th, the Biden administration didn't use AI and fucking database systems in order to find every person that was at the Capitol and arrest them and put them in prison for 20 years? Nah. No, they used geofencing from cell phones. So every cell phone that was around the Capitol that day got a visit from the FBI under Biden. But I don't hear this bitch talking about that, right? No, it's only when Trump does something that the Germans are all empört about it and the Europeans are all butthurt about every little thing Trump does. Well, maybe they should grow a pair of balls, right? And actually do something and make changes in their country that would benefit their own people. Maybe Trump would have more respect for them. How's that? That's a strategy they should follow. Instead of listening to some loser bitch on Markus Lanz that talks right out of her a-hole, right? With some dumb fucking feminist dude sitting there fucking, oh, this bitch is the smartest bitch I've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? Two fucking complete liars. And what they do is they take a little bit of truth and then they put a whole bunch of bullshit in there, right? But those of us that can think see through that bullshit. Stop watching that shit, people, really. Just let me tell you what they said. Because I'll tell you better than they will. For real. All right, guys, it's been a long one, but what can I say? There's a lot of bullshit to unravel there.